Okay, today we're ranking NFL running backs. So categories are pretty self-explanatory: elite, above average, average, below average, trash. So you have Melvin Gordon. He's with the Chiefs now, but when he was in the Broncos, he was known for fumbling. He was good when he was first drafted, but man, he has just declined every year since, and he's just not that good anymore, especially with his fumbling problems. I'll put him in trash. And then you have one of the Ravens running back. I think this one is Gus Edwards. I think I don't really know their faces, and he's never really had a starting role, but he's always been a very good rotational back. He always has a very high average yards per carry. I think he missed all of last season. Not sure about that, but he's always been a good rotational back. He's never really had a primary role. But Ravens did sign him to an extension, so I'm gonna put him in average. Whoops. And then you have Christian McCaffrey. He's pretty much always been elite outside of his injury problems. He was good with Panthers starting off the year, but then once he went to the Niners, he was great. Had a lot of touchdowns, was great in the receiving game and the run game, and I'm gonna put him in elite. And then you have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Has not done much. He got surpassed by Pacheco. He's been injured after injury. He had a good first half of his rookie season has just declined. He's a powerful runner, a good receiver, but just not the most elusive, kind of small. Just been injured way too much. I do think he has a bit of potential, but right now he's below average. Then you have Kareem Hunt. Did not have a good year. Um, for the Browns last year. Overall, he's proven he can be an elite back like his rookie and his second season with the Chiefs. But since that whole problem and he had to go to the Browns, he's been second fiddle to Nick Chubb, and since he's been behind Nick Chubb, he's been painfully average. So average. And you have Leonard Fournette, probably overrated in the regular season, especially. I feel like his playoff performances, which are good, but overshadows how below average he is during the regular season. His average yard per carry is bad. He's more of a power back that gets a lot of touchdowns. He's just not that good in the regular season. I'm gonna put him in average. Similarly, James Conner also power back doesn't get a lot of doesn't get a yard of yards per carry. Not the most elusive. Is not gonna break out those big runs, but it's a huge, big, powerful back that can push the pile and get a lot of goal line scores. But for now, I'm gonna have to put him in average. Then you have Benjamin. I think he got cut midway through the season, so he's trash. And then you have Austin Eckler. He just demanded a trade, um, and he's been the greatest rotation dual threat running back there is. He's a end zone threat. He's also a powerful guy that can also make tacklers miss, get a lot of yards after the catch, and his catches. I think he's one of the most versatile back. I'm putting him in elite. Yeah, Pacheco. He was essential for the Chiefs Super Bowl run. He took over Clyde's role and he just ran away with it. Another very powerful back that has the little elusiveness. Is also quick in the straight line speed. Not the greatest receiver, but he's a good back. I'm putting him in above average. Then you have Jonathan Taylor. This year he had a few good games, but was shut down more often than not. And the year before that, he was probably the best back. And even during his rookie year, I think he had 1,000 yard season, or maybe it was that second season. I don't remember. But he's still very young. I think he's like 25 years old. I think he's gonna bounce back next year. I still consider him elite. And you have these other two Colts running back. Not sure who they are. Um, Maybe one's Naeem Hines. I can't recognize the faces, so I'm gonna both put them in below average. Then you have Antonio Gibson. He just disappeared in the second half of the season. He's another very versatile, both dual threat back, elusive, and also has that power in him. Great receiver. He just got out. He just fell in the depth chart. But I do think he has potential. He did show it. He did have like 1,000 yard season the last, like 2021, but last year he just got overshadowed. I'm putting him in average. And then you have Jeff Wilson. Um, had like these. He was fine with the Niners. He was fine with the Dolphins. That's pretty much all I have to say. He had like one good game with the Dolphins, and pretty much from there on, his 4.7 is pretty good. He was just average throughout. So I'll put him in average. And then you have Brian Robinson. He did have a couple good games, had a couple good touchdowns. His power back. He did come back from an injury. Not the best yards per carry, but he did have a couple of good games. I'm gonna put in average. A lot of average running backs. And then you have Ezekiel Elliott. He's pretty much been regulated to just a goal line running back. He just doesn't have that burst he has anymore. He's painfully average now. And then Pollard coming off his breakout season. Um, he's always been second fiddle to Zeke until this year. This year he just broke out. He's always had a very good yard per carry, always a very good elusive burst runner. This time it really showed. Wouldn't put him in elite just yet. He has all that potential to be elite, but just hasn't had enough carry. So I'm gonna put him in above average. And then you have Mostert. Injuries. His biggest knack is injuries. For the Dolphins, he was good. He had 4.7 carries, almost just under 900 yards. Had a couple of good explosive games. Very inconsistent, but when he's on, he's on. Um, his potential, if he's consistent, I think he has all the potential up to. He's kind of old right now, so he might start declining soon. But I think when he's healthy, I think he's an above average running back. Then you have Chase Edmonds. He was trash. He got traded away from the Dolphins. With the Broncos, he had a couple of good games, but not good. He's trash. You have Miles Sanders. Ooh, he had a very, very, very good season. At 1,200 yard season was a great dual threat, and he was in the rotational running back. Wouldn't put him in elite just yet, but I'm gonna put him in above average. I think he's reaching that elite level though. And then you have Cordero Patterson. He's getting old. Was good in 2021, but he's getting old. You can tell he's starting to decline a little bit. He's starting to get passed by Algier. I don't think he's going to do that good next year, but he's still an elite kick/punt returner. He's just not that good of a running back, and he's still average, but not great. And you have Algier. He went on late, and late in the season he started going off. Not the biggest back, not the most powerful back, but he gets those yards per carry. I think as a rookie he's above average. And Saquon Barkley, similar to McCaffrey, um, is those injuries derail him. But last year he was not injured and he was elite. And then you have Travis Etienne, had a very good year. Kind of slowed down near the end, but his first season he had a great year, over 1,000-yard season. Good receiving back overall, just a good running back with good size, good elusiveness, good burst. Put him in above average. And then you have David Montgomery. With the Bears, he's always been good, not great. He doesn't get a lot of yards per carry. He does a lot of carries though, which is he's more of a big back. He does have those few big runs. Nothing spectacular. He's not the most flashy player, but he is above average. And James Robinson, he had like a great 3 games, and then he disappeared pretty much. And he got traded to the Jets, continued to disappear. But with those 3 games, he was great. His rookie season, he was great. But outside of that, he hasn't done much. He has all that potential. He just hasn't equaled to production. So I'm going to put him in average. Then Breece Hall. Breece Hall had a great half season with them. He single-handedly pretty much carried that Jets offense. When he got injured, that Jets offense died. All those Zach Wilson wins was because of Breece Hall. Great receiving back, great running back. I think he's above average, and I think he's going. If he comes back from injury, I think he's going to be elite in like 2 seasons after his ACL tear. They have DeAndre Swift, another guy with all the talent, but cannot stay healthy whatsoever. He's still relatively young, but I'm not sure how much he can improve, especially with those injuries stacking up. He's an explosive player, both in the running game and receiving game. But with all those injuries, I think he's above average right now, but he's getting dangerous close to being average, especially if those injuries start taking a toll. Jamal Williams, he actually had 1,000 yards last season. He's more of a goal line guy, but he did prove he can be a number 1 running back. Not sure if he's above average just yet, but I'm putting him average. And then you have Aaron Jones, pretty much coming into the league. He's done it all. He's a great receiving back, gets touchdown, explosive back, can catch the ball and run the ball. I think he's elite. I know some people might disagree, but I think he's elite. Then you have AJ Dillon. Coming into this season, he was really hyped because he had a couple good games in 2021, but he really didn't do much. Wasn't that effective. More of a big back, didn't do that good in the running game. Just was not that effective. I know people have he has a lot of potential, but that has not equal production, so I'm gonna put him in below average. And then you have Chuba Hubbard. After Christian McCaffrey got traded, he got overtaken by Foreman, who I think is average running back. He had like one good game, not that good. I'm putting him in below average. And then you have Stevenson. I think this was his very, very good season. Um, just a good season overall. He's a good power back. He pretty much led that Patriots offense, so I'm gonna put him in above average. And then you have Damian Harris. Didn't do much this year, but throughout the season he's been effective. Not the most flashy back, been good. So I'm gonna put him above average. Then you have Josh Jacobs. Um, Josh Jacobs broke out this year after the Raiders did not pick up his um, fifth-year option. Before the start of the year, I said he was underrated. I think he's a good running back, good power, um, good build, good hands, everything you need in a running back. So before the season, I would have said he was underrated, and I've been high on him. I'm gonna put him in elite. Then you have Khalil Herbert. Montgomery got injured for a few games. Herbert filled in nicely. I feel like he's another guy with potential, and in limited roles, he's done very average with them. So I'm gonna put them in average. And then you have Darrell Henderson. Uh, really didn't do much this year. When Akers went down 2 years ago, he was fine. But this year he got injured, really didn't show much. I'm gonna put him in below average. And you have J.K. Dobbins. Sucks that he's in a rotational back role because he did show a couple of very, very good games. But he has all the potential. He was injured, which is not good. But he does show a lot of potential, but I'm gonna put him in average for now. And Kenyon Drake, he was with the Raiders last season, right? I remember he was good with Miami. He was good for and good. He was like average for Miami, then great for the Cardinals. I think he disappeared with the Raiders, so I'm gonna put him below average. You have Alvin Kamara. Ooh, he's a very interesting one. He might not even play next season. This season he started off good and then just fell off. He's getting on the old side now, which hinder his potential. He's still a great receiving back and a good overall running back, but I don't know. I don't think he's elite anymore, so I'm gonna put him in above average. And then you have is that Mark Ingram? When did he end up with the Saints? He still has a few good games left, but he's kind of washed, so below average. Then you have Rashard Penny. He's injuries. He has like good games and he gets injured. With those games that he does play him, I think he's above average. But those injuries puts him in average. Kenneth Walker, he had a great game. I think he was the main guy. I know people talk about Geno Smith. I think Kenneth Walker was the main guy for Seattle. Had great games, can lead that offense. Not much of a receiving threat, but I still think he's above average. Then Najee Harris. He was not good last season. He was not effective at all. I think he did get better near the end, especially with his touchdown production. Overall, this season was not good, but his rookie season he was great. I'm still thinking he's above average, but he's getting dangerous close to putting average. Then Damian Pierce, he was looking really good and then he got injured, which sucked. But I still put him in average. He wasn't like Brees Hall good when he was playing, but he was very good. Maybe like Kenneth Walker good, but then he got injured, so I'm gonna put him in average. Then you have Philip Lindsay. He had one good season with the Broncos, and then he just disappeared. After an injury, he disappeared. So he hasn't done anything in like 3 years, so I'm gonna put him in trash. You have Joe Mixon. He was not that effective. He was not that good this year. He had one good game and he disappeared throughout the game. He disappeared early on the season, and then for the rest of the season, outside of that one game, he was invisible. He was painfully average. He has potential. He is a good runner and a good receiver, but I'm gonna put him above average. You have Derrick Henry. He bounced back nicely from his injury. I still think he's a great back. Um, Obviously, I think he's probably one of the best running backs, elite. And then you have Dalvin Cook. He was so inconsistent last season. He was on and off. He had that one big run that would inflate his stats, but other than that, he was kind of similar to Mixon, like invisible. He just had a lot more good games. He's still a threat in the run game with his burst and his speed, and a threat in the receiving game. But I put him in the lead for now, but he's getting painfully close to getting above average. And then you have Madison. I think he's a good running back. He's just playing second fiddle to Cook. I think he fills in nicely when Cook is injured, so I'm gonna put him in average. Pirine, when Mixon was injured, Pirine actually rejuvenated that Bengals run game. Good receiver, good runner. I'm gonna put him in average. You have Singletary. Singletary's yards per carry has actually been very good. He's very effective. He just doesn't get many opportunities with the Bills because of Josh Allen and all that. But I do think he's a good running back. I think he'll get a nice contract in free agency. Not bad receiving, good runner, good hard, and elusive runner. I think he's above average. You have Javonte Williams, played 4 games, wasn't great, not bad. And he got injured. His rookie season was good. And I do think he has all the potential right now, but I'm not sure how well he'll bounce back. I'm going to put him in average. Even though I think he's above average, he just hasn't shown that yet. And you have Latavius Murray. Actually did pretty well. I don't know where he came from, but he did pretty well for the Broncos last year. Had a few good games, not the most effective. His yards per carry wasn't that good, but did what he was needed to do. I'm gonna put him in average. And then Nick Chubb, he kind of fell off near the end, but throughout the season he was great running back, probably top 3 running back. Not the greatest in the receiving, which I think if he can improve that, he can probably be running back number 1. So he's another elite running back. And then you have Elijah Mitchell, injured on and off this season. But he did play well when he was healthy. And last season, during his rookie year, he played great. He's not above average just yet, but I'm going to put him in average. So there you have my NFL running back tier list.